Hello, everyone. Before we begin, I want to let you know that I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a spiritual master or expert of any kind. I'm just a country pumpkin sharing his theoretical perspective for entertainment purpose only. And the topic for entertainment today is responsibility and accountability. Accountability. Those two are one of the attributes of mastery. And that is an important factor when it comes to path number one, overcoming our shadow, our demons. We can see it reflected in ourselves and in society. It is more obvious in Eastern society where it is more draconian. And you can see people trying to rationalize, make excuses, explanation of why it is not so, why they can't do it, why they can't make it happen. And on a personal level, we do the same thing. Excuses, blame, rationalize, but we don't admit, it's my mistake. And admitting that it is our mistake and own up to it, that's part of not just dealing with life, facing life, but overcoming our shadow, our demons, our weaknesses by making excuses, by blaming. And that is the game that being played in society a lot, blaming. The only way we can overcome ourselves is by taking responsibility and accountability for our actions, the choices we make, the free will choices we make. If we notice or we look carefully, every situation in society or in our life, how are we reacting? Are we reacting to programming? Are we analyzing and responding accordingly? It makes a difference in which path we are planning to walk or is walking. Are we going to make excuses? What are we doing to make it better? What are we doing to correct it? So instead of facing or focusing on society right now, look back into our life. If we don't want to continue the victimizer game, if we want to take back our power, define our boundary, protect our boundary, then that is a must-have. Not only do we expect responsibility and accountability from ourselves, but from other people, so that we don't become victimized, become victims, or let people victimize us because of the empathy, the being soft. So when we set strong boundaries, we are not only helping ourselves, but we are applying tough love, whether that is our parents, our loved ones, friends. No is no. And there is a line that should not be crossed. If we let them cross that line, you become a doormat, and the process of victimizer game continue until one day, until you begin to take back your power, or we begin to take back our power when it comes to society. whether the relationship, most especially happens in relationship between husband and wife, boyfriends and girlfriend. And instead of blaming, making excuses, we can ask one question: what am I learning from this? Doesn't matter any situation in life. If we begin with that question, what can I learn from this? And that is reflected in our attitude. Our attitude will determine whether we walk path number one or number two, whether we make excuses or we are admitting that, okay, I'm wrong here. I make a bad choice. I shouldn't have done that. What can I do to correct it? That is accountability. And that is missing dearly nowadays. It is more obvious, depends on which culture you're from, where you live. Where I live, it's blatantly smack in the face every day from the excuses that we hear and we see. Okay, if you're walking path number two, that might sound like, okay, that's reasonable, plausible. Okay, you accept it because that's a way of life. It is part of society. But you walk path number one, we emphasize on responsibility and accountability. Those excuses don't flow very well. It don't hold water very well. And it goes against what's our feeling, what's driving us inside. So every day, every second, every situation, we have an option, a choice. Do we stand our ground? Do we face our problems? Or do we walk away? Are we going to take back our power? Are we giving it away every second, every day, just by letting the victimizer or the other party disrespecting us? Because we have not learned self-love. We have not learned tough love. Loving others does not mean we have to be a doormat. Letting them abuse us every day or often, or let them acting irresponsible, that is not love. Love means splash them with a cold bucket of ice over their head and let them face reality. Know what they are doing is causing you physical or mental or emotional harm, and you don't believe they should continue. And part of taking responsibility and accountability is expressing how we feel to other people, facing them. I don't like what you're doing. That is when expressing ourselves, and what we have in mind is taking back our power. Although at first we not might get the reaction we want because we caught in the victimizer game too long, and people expect we're supposed to act and respond a certain way, and suddenly when you act differently, it takes some time to adjust. But if you are firm, determined, and the other party will realize they have to make some adjustment, or they have to face consequences. And that's just not the other party. We have to deal with consequences if we are not facing our problem, dealing with our problems, facing our fears and demons, and take a step forward, not just to protect our boundary, but we have the responsibility to make ourselves happy, to live fully, has that fulfillment inside deeply, not just barely making it and dragging our feet. and living in misery because we are giving our power away, and now we're not being happy with the situation and not dealing with it, not realizing it. If we change ourselves, everything around us shift accordingly to our perspective, our attitude. So those two traits, characteristics, what I would consider as a turning point to which path you'll be walking in life, path number 1 or path number 2. And that could be the foundation for all the others to overcome, to master all the other 15 or 14 attitudes and characteristics. Okay, thank you. And I wish everyone luck in embodying not just the 15 virtues, but the 15 attitudes and responsibility of mastery. So you can live the life that you want, the path that you choose, and not the path unconsciously choosing. Okay, thank you, everyone.